Here in Santa Maria, we are still here to give you sound banking advice and offer products and services tailored to your specific needs. So even though everyone is social distancing, we remain committed to being responsive and accessible. That's because for nearly 2 decades, our focus has been helping local families, businesses, and farmers, especially now during these uncertain times. From commercial and personal real estate construction loans to lines of credit, depend on our proven local know-how and expertise. Stop in soon and discover all the benefits of Santa Maria-style banking at your Community Bank of Santa Maria. And above all, be patient and stay healthy.
Visit yourcbsm.com to learn more about all we offer. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
And this portion of the news being brought to you by Community Bank of Santa Maria.
The Central Coast stops here for the latest news. The information station, AM 1440 and FM 106.3 KUHL.
7:33 coming up here in just a bit. We'll check in with California news and also further updates on traffic and weather. But right now, time to talk food with our favorite grocery gal, Amy Goldsmith. Amy's helped to launch and grow some of the most well-known brands that many of us eat or at least see on the grocery shelves. She's a food industry insider and lives her life as a food finder, looking for the best new products and trends. You can follow Amy and direct message her any questions through Facebook and also on Instagram at The Grocery Gal. Well, Amy, welcome back to the show. Good morning.
Good morning, Ben.
So the great news is our listeners have been piping in with questions, and we really appreciate that. They're kind of driving the topic, so that's good news.
I know. I love it. I welcome the question.
So we had a listener call in, and she wanted to know, and this is actually a good question, about gluten. So what is gluten? Is gluten bad for you? And if you do need gluten-free products, how do you navigate those products? So any suggestions, Dr. Amy?
Well, gluten is a general name for the proteins that are found in wheat. So gluten, it helps food maintain their shape, and it acts as a glue that actually holds the food together. So it's responsible for that elastic texture of dough that we love, when you press the bread and pizza dough and it kind of bounces back. That's the gluten in the dough. And gluten also can be found in many types of foods and even cleansing products, by the way. So most products that are gluten-free say gluten-free right on the packaging or on the label. But if you're concerned about gluten, then look at the label and look for wheat and wheat berries, durum, emmer, semolina, spelt, farina, farro, gram, rye, barley, and malt on those labels. Then you know there's gluten in them. So if any of those are listed, there's gluten in the product.
Okay, interesting. A lot of different names there. So what is the problem with gluten? I guess some people can handle it, others can't, I guess.
Right. So for most people, gluten isn't a problem. For others who may be sensitive to it, you might feel bloated and gassy after eating wheat or something with gluten in it. If you're gluten intolerant, the symptoms include bloating, diarrhea, constipation, abdominal pain, headache, feeling tired, skin problems, depression, and unexplained weight loss. So some real discomfort there. And so then there's celiac disease. And celiac disease is an immune disease in which people cannot eat gluten because it will actually damage their small intestine. So if you have celiac disease and eat foods with gluten, your immune system responds by damaging your small intestine. I actually have a friend who has celiac disease, and if she eats any gluten, she immediately throws up.
Oh.
And she has to read every food label and can only eat certified gluten-free products. So then it becomes a little bit more challenging with cleaning products.
Yeah, as you mentioned that there's gluten in cleaning products, so for some people, they might be wondering, well, why is it in there?
Yeah, I never knew about this, but I had a colleague who was telling me that her daughter had severe celiac disease and that they had to find shampoos and cleaning supplies that didn't contain gluten. The products with gluten actually severely irritated her skin, and obviously she ate only gluten-free. But keep in mind, cleaning ingredients that may contain gluten do not fall under the same labeling laws that apply to food. So you won't find gluten labeling on cleaning supplies unless it is being marketed as gluten-free cleanser or gluten-free shampoo.
Interesting. All right, we have Grocery Gal Amy Goldsmith. The time 7:37 here on KUHL. So gluten is labeled on food, but not on cleaning supplies?
Correct. Well, it's actually gluten-free is what is labeled on food, right? I mean, you see gluten-free It's rare that you find a label that says, hey, we contain gluten. It usually will only say gluten-free. You're more likely to see in the allergen label that the food product contains wheat. So there's 8 allergens that need to be labeled on all food products, wheat being one of them. So that would tell you that it is gluten. There is gluten in it. But you are correct that in the United States, food is labeled with allergens, not cleaning products. So if you're concerned about gluten, look for products that say gluten-free. There are countless now. There are specific gluten-free companies like Udis, UDIS, it's called Udis, that only make gluten-free products. And then there are countless products that just happen to be gluten-free.
All right. Well, there's clearly people with celiac and intolerances, but I guess when did gluten-free become such a trend? I mean, it hasn't always been around.
That's a great question. So, we've talked about it here with you every year pre-COVID, obviously. I attend several food trade shows. And at these food trade shows, we see new trends and new products before they hit the market or just as they're hitting the market. And about 10 years ago, gluten-free became a food trend. And you kind of show up at these shows and you don't necessarily know what's really going to hit. You have a hunch, but this really hit. I mean, a bunch of products emerged that were gluten-free. And I remember standing at my trade show booth that year, and everyone was walking up to me asking me the products I was with were gluten-free. The year before, it was never mentioned. I mean, not a piece. So there are these huge pendulum swings in trends. And prior to gluten-free, it was the low-carb trend. And so, everyone was talking about low carb. And products and magazines pop up as a result of, these trends, and it becomes a real thing. Right now, the buzz about gluten-free isn't like it was. It's just now part of the norm. The pendulum has swung, more into the middle, and products are most likely expected to be gluten-free when they can be.
All right, interesting. So anyway, as we're talking about gluten-free, do you have some favorite gluten-free items? I happened to be at the grocery store yesterday at the checkout stand and noticed there were gluten-free crackers. So I don't know if you've got any favorite gluten-free items.
I do. There has been a ton of work since 10 years ago to make gluten-free products actually taste good and have the same texture as the products that have gluten, and it's not an easy task. The products have really, truly improved. Now there are just a ton of gluten-free products and snacks available that are delicious, and quite honestly, you wouldn't even know that they're gluten-free. I think the hardest items to emulate is probably bread and pizza crust and maybe cake,
right.
Just, again, to get that texture. But mentioning crackers, Mary's Gone crackers, they're delicious crackers. They're gluten-free. They've been around forever, named after the owner who had celiac. It's still run by her and her husband. Very popular, great snack crackers. Also, as I mentioned, Udis, and actually a brand called Ezekiel. They're well-known gluten-free bread brands, and they taste pretty good. Both of those are found in the freezer section, depending on your market, in the refrigerated section. Breads and crusts as well. And as for pizza, there's a brand called Cauliflower. It's a popular frozen pizza brand, and it's delicious. They use cauliflower as the crust. It's gluten-free. And they also have chicken fingers that are baked, not fried, and the breading is also made from cauliflower.
Interesting.
Gluten-free. Really delicious. Really popular right now, cauliflower. And there's a brand called Spinatos, which is a restaurant out of Scottsdale, Arizona, that years and years ago just started making pizza crust from broccoli, just kind of messing around.
Yeah.
It's delicious. Now it's delicious, and now they're in the stores. They're in the frozen pizza section, and it's really delicious. And so it's overall with gluten-free products, it's a personal taste, and it just requires a lot of trial and error on your part.
Yeah. Well, you were mentioning pizza. I did try a gluten-free pizza, and actually it was pretty good, and I don't recall if I really could tell a difference between regular pizza or gluten. I don't know, maybe it wasn't as puffy on the crust or something like that, but the taste was pretty good.
That's great. I mean, that's been a long time in the coming. I mean, pizza crust has been really, really hard.
Yeah.
Frozen pizza is hard in general just because we're so used to eating fresh pizza, and it is different. So to get even a normal pizza crust that's frozen to taste like a regular one is hard work, and then take out the gluten, and it makes it a bit more challenging. One of the things that's become popular with feeding children is using the gluten-free crusts that are made from vegetables, because you're sort of sneaking in some vegetables in there. So a kid may not know he or she is eating cauliflower, pizza made from cauliflower, but you're getting in some extra veggies for them.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. That's good news. Well, anyway, if you want to follow Amy, and of course, a lot of the great information we get from our listeners, some questions and things, you can follow Amy and direct message her any questions through Facebook and also on Instagram at The Grocery Gal. And again, thanks for all the input. And if you've got any questions, you can also call me here at the radio station and we'll pass those along to Amy. Some good information here on gluten-free. And Amy, I'm sure we'll chat again hopefully next week.
Thanks, Ben. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Don't forget birthdays and anniversary wishes. 928-1440 is my number.
Lompoc Health is now offering televisits. Save valuable time and see a provider live in a virtual visit using your mobile device or computer. No sign-in or app download required. If you need a prescription, we can send it directly to your pharmacy. It's never been easier for you and your family to access quality health care. Stay in the comfort of your own home while getting the care you need. Learn more at lompochealth.com.
Wouldn't it be great if you could get auto, home, business, farm, life, and retirement insurance all from one agency?